Welcome to Synchronicity. You are tuning in to the mind of Mercury to tap in to our podcast that is all about how nothing is a coincidence. Thus, everything is intentional. How do you feel about that? Let's talk about it. And when I say that everything is intentional, I literally mean that it would be impossible for you as a spirit who intends to be aware of its own circumstances, it would be impossible for you to be able to see anything as, again, a spirit who is intending to be aware, if other spirits who did not intend to be aware did not connect with themselves in an intentional way to create something that then stands the test of time in physical reality. So that's where no matter what you see in physical reality, every single object is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Every single thing, every single earth is air being watered by a certain fire, right? We're all connected by water, but we're all separated by our fire. We're all connected by our vibration. All of our hearts are beating, but our hearts are not beating at the same frequency because we all have our own idea of what freedom is. We all have our own idea of what it means to be completely in heaven with our spirit. That's why I'm here as Hermes, giving us all of this recontextualization in the English language and just flipping the script to show everyone how we're already in heaven alone. We have to create hell so that we can share our heavens with each other, because heaven is very simply having extra space to support your individual imagination. So as a spirit, when you have extra space to support your ego, your imagination, you feel like you're in heaven. This is the difference between the number 1 and the number 10. Heaven is you feeling like you are supported by yourself because you are experiencing yourself as the number 1, right? You are experiencing yourself as an individual and you desire to make your egos real, right? As in you desire to make your desires real. You have these higher fire vision lights of what you want your imagination to look like in physical reality. So then this is where you as a spirit make a body that allows you to channel your imagination into physical reality, right? So anything that you see, anything you're connecting with is then an extension of how your imagination communicates with itself. How does your awareness build a mind? That's going to inform everything that you perceive. Every single thing in physical reality that you perceive is only going to then matter, even though it had to matter to something else to even be turned into matter. But you're not going to be able to connect with this matter, and thus this matter won't matter to you if you are not communicating with yourself in a way that allows you to see said matter, right? So a phone doesn't matter to me unless I was taught by the people who made the phone what a phone does. Money does not matter to me. As an indigenous person, you literally cannot buy land from me because that's my land. And that's land that I know that spirits are creating so that we can connect freely. For you to come and think that you can buy it from me shows me how disgustingly lost you are. Like, you're looking at me thinking I have authority over something just because something trusts me enough to have authority over it. Like, that's where this land would have called me away from my space so that I could nurture it and grow things on it. Versus you, as a white supremacist, the complete opposite of me is Chase, where you're like, oh, I need that land, so let me make up an imaginary concept so I can make the people who make that land possible work for me. And I'll just make them work for money. When money doesn't matter to me, I made up money so that I could steal this land from these indigenous peoples. right? So it's literally this imagination extension thing, because then these people who support the genocide of Native Americans, they claim to love Jesus, they claim to be Christian, they claim to be super holy and super spiritual, right? That's just where we see that their spirituality is reliant on eating indigenous peoples and cannibalizing indigenous peoples and consuming everything that quote unquote black people, indigenous peoples, and when I say indigenous, again, going in indigit. So that's what black is. Black as in no one can see you, because white is you're seen. So white means that you are outside of your space and you are showing who you are inside of your space. Whereas black means that you are inside of your space and you are connecting with yourself, right? Like we've already been through that. That's the esoteric difference between the colors white and black. So then when spirits start to resonate with these terms, this is how they play out. Where once a spirit believes that it's white, everything associated with whiteness is about consuming reality so that you can be seen, right? Like, oh, there's a tree there, but I want to make money off of that tree. So let me cut down the tree and build a whole system out of it where I can use all of my own made up logical ideas to make myself important inside of nature, right? So this is the difference between white supremacists and indigenous spirits, where indigenous spirits are literally creating the nature that allow white supremacists to even be possible. Like a white supremacist is literally only able to connect to the simulation because an indigenous person was spiritual. But then because they're lost in physical reality, they need to connect to the simulation in a way that's like, let me consume Tahuti's creations. Let me consume everything Hermes made. Let me eat everything Symmetry made. And it's literally the difference of a creator versus consumer mindset, where creators are indigenous. Creators are in their water energy, right? Like that's what water is. We see that fire is not creative. The desire to create comes from fire. So fire is passionate about creating, but it's so passionate about creating, it's consumptive. So that's the difference. When you as a spirit have your first imagination, when you're looking at your idea, that's your fire, right? Like that's your fiery frequency of light that is too hot to touch. So your ego is always too hot to touch. This is the point of you having different parts of yourself as a spirit, and how you can observe them better once I bring awareness to it, right? Because you as the observer, you are the spirit. You are nothing. This is the point of meditating. The more you meditate, the more you fast, the more you see that you are literally nothing. You're operating from nothing. You're operating from a space of complete space, like no imagination. So then this is where the moment you imagine yourself, that can only ever express your circumstances. So now you as nothingness are observing your one and your zero. And really you're observing how your one expresses your zero. So once you literally as a spirit became aware of your circumstances and aware that you're nothing, you immediately create fire. You immediately create that first brightest white light that wants to be seen. That's like, oh wait, but I'm something. I hate being nothing. And now you're shining your individuality out. Here's the thing. It's too individual. No one can see you but you when you're just out in space alone. Right? So this is the point of fire turning into water. So fire is consumptive because fire wants to create, but it's not connecting with itself. Fire is only focused on projecting outward and consuming everything around it. So this is what your imagination is. Your imagination is always consuming space. This is why we see that white supremacists, their imagination is only reliant on raping, murdering, and enslaving people outside of themselves so that they can consume more space outside of themselves. And then they're going to come up with whack-ass concepts like, there's not enough space on the earth. We have overpopulation. And now Bill Gates is here like, we need to inject everyone with these mystery fluids so that we can take the population of the planet down because it's overpopulated. Like, it's insane. It's all literally white supremacist ideas. Like, we're really in here because it's truly the physical versus spiritual. It's like that simple, as far as just making it as simple as possible. Like when there's two brains in the universe, as far as like There's creators and consumers. There's indigenous and white supremacists. There's spiritual and there's physical. So spirits who live in spiritual reality, they create physical reality. So that spirits who live in physical reality can consume spirituality. You see how that works? So like I'm here in physical reality because I got called here to share what I'm normally creating from my spiritual reality. But because people are so lost in physical reality down here, I have to get lost in the same physical things as everyone else. And that's the point of then making a body, me riding a wave, being trapped in a vibration, everything we've covered in Dissect the Dialect even. Where it's about, oh, why are we trapped in a vibe? Right? Because the only way we can actually share our individuality with others is to consume the same creations. So this is the natural progression of life in terms of how we as spirits use our imagination to create the circumstances where we can connect our imagination with other individuals who might have similar imaginations. And at the very least, and the thing is, we can never see each other's imaginations. That's the point of the vibration, right? So when you have your own fire, you have your individual idea of who you are, and it's too hot for anyone to touch, so it just exists out in the middle of space. Like you're just out in the middle of space, just nothingness, and it's constantly spreading. The moment you connect with yourself, you've created water. So that's the point of you as a spirit. When you look at your ego, you're looking at your imagination and you're getting wet from it. You're getting turned on from how hot your fire is, right? That's then where you create water, literally. You create the soul. You create your watery realm, your pool of water that encompasses your fire. And this is literally what the universe then looks like, where a star or the sun, right? Think about the solar system as a concept. This is what the solar system looks like. So you as a spirit being your own universe, you are the center of your own universe. You are the center of your universe. You need a verse, as in your universe is you playing music with yourself. And if you're going to fit into your song, you need to have a part in your song. So this is why anything inside of the universe is vibrating, and it has some kind of harmonic musical frequency, because the only way that you could connect with the water is to vibrate. So then this is where we get vibration being the main thing of life. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency because it's first a space creating a frequency that then wants to connect this frequency with other frequencies, right? So now we can be here in a human body or just any kind of body, and we can hear a bunch of vibrational frequencies all at once. And there's so many that we can't hear, right? Because they're out of our range of hearing. So then that shows like there's infinite vibrational frequencies. It's just literally about which ones are you meant to relate with based on the body that you're creating. This is how I love spirituality, bro. Because I can't imagine anything else. Like, bro, I build myself from the inside out every single day. And that's what this podcast, that's what today's episode is all about. Building oneself from the inside out every single day, even when the things that one builds gets torn down. And this is big 8 energy. This podcast is about to, I'm going to be vulnerable on this one. I won't be too vulnerable, but I've been having the most Scorpio time this Scorpio season. And I won't share too much of my personal stuff because I know it's not, I guess, couth, is that the word? It's not couth for me to do that, or it's not something about, I don't know, professionalism versus like connection. Because of course, when you're naturally connecting with someone, this is the thing with spirits, right? Like literally, this is how we can see the truth comes out in all TV shows and nature and just everything. Because the point is, a spirit isn't using water to express themselves if they're not going to be able to show us who they are. Right? So like the whole point of you as a spirit being in a vibration at all. The whole point of you as an individual space, being aware of your body inside of the universe, is so that you can ride the same wave, the same vibration as all those other bodies, right? So once you believe that you are this body, you are now locked in the vibration. You are locked in the wave that all the other bodies who are inside that simulation are locked in as well. This is how relatability happens. So then this is like the whole dichotomy of life, like the polarization of, we know that all of us as spirits are individuals, but none of us can exist without connecting. Okay. So the idea of God is like there's supposed to be one individual who rules over all of us. And that's only ever some white supremacist Jewish Christian mentality that is only meant to justify the further slavery and brutal genocide and rape of indigenous peoples. Because now these people who can look at indigenous individuals can look at these literally just beautiful natural people who are fasting longer than Jesus and are just connecting with themselves and happily creating nature. They need to project onto these indigenous peoples, these indigenous individuals, that they are part of something that they're not. So now no matter what I say as an indigenous person, because you are conquering my land, you believe that you can do whatever you want to me because I'm an extension of your God. And because I did not accept the sacrifice of the son of your God, now you get to rape, murder, and build a system off of my continued rape and murder and make America great out of that. All because you don't feel like you're God, which is why you look at me fasting and you tell me that it doesn't matter how much I fast. I could fast longer than Jesus, but I still need to sacrifice myself to Jesus, or else you're going to do what you want to with me. So it's just either way, you're going to do what you want to with me. Because the moment I've sacrificed myself to your language and your concept of Jesus, like that's just, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Either way, you're consuming my land and raping my mind and telling me that I'm not creative, so that I'll use my creative abilities to create a world that is only consuming me. All for white people. All for white people who hate themselves, by the way, which is obviously like the only reason why they could possibly use an idea like money or anything made up to justify the slavery of people that they label black. Like the only way. And that's why I'm here as Hermes, because that's the thing with Hermeticism. All right, that's the thing with Semicism. It's all about being happy alone so that you can be happy with other spirits. So Hermeticism is all about being happy alone. Hermeticism is me showing realities how we are already in heaven and we're creating this hell so that we can share our heaven. And now every reality is supposed to be super hype because it's us choosing to be in hell so that we can show how awesome we truly are when we're alone. And now the more you love yourself when you're alone, the more awesome of a collective life you're going to have when you're with others. See how that works vibrationally? And I mean, all the rich people listening to this know this. All like the high value, high status people, whatever, listening to this know this, like as a base concept. It's mainly poor people who don't get this vibrational stuff. And they don't get the idea of like, wait, I'm supposed to connect with myself and believe in my own ideas first before other people do? No, I need constant validation from the environment. I need constant help from outside of myself. See, like, this is then the difference of spirituality versus physicality. A lot of people who become rich, who are self-made millionaires, self-made just billionaires, rich people overall, they are more spiritual. Like anyone who got rich is almost always connecting with themselves, connecting with their own ideas in a way that matters, literally, more than other people. Like other people who are chaotic, they don't believe in their ideas. They're naturally doing everything I'm explaining here, right? But they have nothing to show for it. Like if I was a poor person, if I was poor boy Hermes, poor boy Hermes, if I was poor boy Hermes, instead of rich boy Thoth, I guess it should be rich man Thoth. There's a difference of air and earth. Hermes is not poor. It's hilarious because Hermes is the god of commerce. So in general, I'm money as a spirit. Like, I don't care about money because money only matters because of my simulations. Money can only exist because of the worlds that I build from the inside out. Like, your concept of money is meant to make you learn how you value the things that are clearly priceless. Like, nature is priceless. The nature that I make for you to connect on is priceless. But of course, when you're so limited in your ability to value yourself, you're going to make up a concept like money to act like you can give a price to other stuff. When in reality, you're just projecting how limited your view is. And now you feel like you can put a price on a human life. You feel like you can put a price on a tree, on an animal, on just anything you want. And when in reality, it's you being a white supremacist using made up concepts to control things outside of yourself, to breach the consent of spirits who are connecting happily outside of yourself. And this is why there's not one God. Okay, so bad things happen. Like bad things happen all the time. Okay, like it's literally this vibrational resonance thing of how much are you as a spirit connected with yourself to be able to stop or mitigate bad things from happening. Because anything that's bad, anything that's really negative that's happening is a vibrational resonance that is being created from your imagination. So whatever frequency you're riding as a spirit, whatever individual fire, whatever individual ego you have, the way you connect with that creates your water. The way you connect with that creates your soul. The way you connect with your ego, the way you connect with your imagination creates your vibration. And then that's your feeling. And that's going to be what then powers your ability to communicate your imagination. Right? So poor people, they're out here not really believing in their imagination. So when they connect with themselves, it looks like them just generally expressing it as air. So this is what I mean by poor boy Hermes. Because Hermes is so focused on air, the whole point of air is that it has nothing to show for it. Air, being the externalization of spirit, is the externalization of nothing. It makes something possible. Hermes makes Tahuti possible. Hermes does build pyramids with his air. Like the earth of a pyramid could only come out of the air that was created first. Like all the particles that settle into the structure of a pyramid had to come out of the breath out. And consistent mathematical breaths out, just based on science. So, poor people, right? They'll just connect with themselves, but not in a way that actually matters, because on the deep inside, they don't feel like their ideas matter. So they're not going to build a structure out of their ideas. Instead, they would rather just experience and live by them, versus a rich person who creates wealth. Right? It's not about consuming wealth. You literally create wealth because it's about you creating some kind of value from the inside out that spirits who are in vibrational resonance with you can then value with the energy exchange that we call money in this reality. Because everyone's minds are so colonized by money, right? Like we can't even eat food without having to spend money on it. You can't live in stolen land without having to spend money for it. You can't navigate in stolen land without having to spend money for it. You can't do anything in stolen land without having to spend money for it, because the whole point of Jews and Christians stealing this land from indigenous peoples was to enslave everyone who's born on it and make money out of everyone with all these social security numbers and just numbers in general. So today's podcast is about impermanence. Because I am in a very vulnerable state, I'm going to share what feels right after I simmer these trees. Let's catch a vibe. Let's ride this wave. And let's get in touch with our true space. Yeah. Been crying, I simmer my trees. breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My mind's been flying wild, my soul's been crying. I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My soul's been crying wild, my mind's been flying so high. Through the astral plane, macabre brain, I built your game, we're not the same. My soul's been crying wild, my mind's been flying too. Relay it with those who listen heard, we make our vibe from deep inside. My soul's been crying wild, my mind's been flying back into my space, called away with haste, so I'll fall with grace to thrill my chase. My mind's been flying wild, my soul's been crying too. Water my earth, I know my worth, my soul gives birth to all my work. My mind's been flying wild, my soul's been crying so I can't connect with those you neglect. Time to correct how we reflect. My mind's been flying wild, my soul's been crying too. Who flood the sea with energy from my inner chi? I'm free to be me. I fell to inspire you to say how to fly higher too. Fly higher too. Fly higher too. Hang out with the fam in your true spot. Don't be sad if you forgot that you've got a spirit squad and you're not true to this spot. Flip a script and break the facade. Take a trip and go abroad. When you're brave, they will apply. When you get in touch with your true God. I've been fighting. I've been vibing when I'm dancing with demons, reversing curses and scheming. They be fiending for reasons to change the sins like the seasons. So I've been falling, cause y'all been calling my mind out of my spirit. I feel it best when I'm near it, but y'all cry for help and I hear it. So Hermes flies out to stare it in a new healthy direction. Will grow through natural connection. So I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C to level up like it's nothing, to turn into something, to bust into function, bumping and pumping with all the wisdom I'm gushing. And when I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C, I fell to inspire you. Simmer higher, I simmer in the skies, I triple in my chi, then I open up my eyes. I balance in my seasons. I mother the cohesion that keeps us intertwined. Balance in my seasons, and I don't need a reason to fulfill my desires. Symmetries. All right. Today's podcast is a vulnerable one for me, family. And the whole point of this podcast is that it's vulnerable. Synchronicity. You are the synchronicity. As a spirit, everything is coinciding inside of you because you are your ego. As far as how you experience yourself, you as a spirit create the ego to express your individuality. Thus, you're only ever going to experience your spirit as your ego. And this is the balance of then you as the ego learning how to listen and connect more with your spirit so that you can communicate in ways that allow you to actually level up and grow as an ego. Because when you are in your ego, right, when we think about people that are in their ego, right, they're not relatable. Yeah, you know, that's that phrase, like, oh, you're in your ego, you're not being relatable. Like, because the ego, the whole point, everyone's ego is so individual to them. We know that the ego is not relatable. We know the ego wants to relate, which is why it will look the same. That's why the ego will go into situations where it will act like it wants to vibe with people, but it really doesn't. Like, this is a perfect example is there is this girl at conventions. who, when I met her, it was so weirdly synchronistic. It was so weirdly synchronistic because I was in the middle of an acid trip, deep in an acid trip, in a dance mosh pit, and this girl just came and grabbed me from behind and turned me around, and she recognized me from the internet, and I kind of recognized her from the internet, but I didn't know her at all, really. She seemed like she was familiar, but it could have, who knows, it could have been a past life thing. Because the relationship with this girl ended up going on to be she wanted to be my arch nemesis, and then it turned into her actually trying to function as my arch nemesis, and she's actually very much out there right now to this day talking shit because she wants to learn about herself based on hating me, I guess. And that's a good amount of spirit. I meet so many people. Okay, of course, so many people want to learn about themselves by acting like they could be my arch nemesis. And it was hilarious because when she said that she was my arch nemesis, I immediately, the phrase, I'm trying to think how I said it exactly. Basically, the phrase I said was specifically because I heard it earlier that night before. So it was she said it to me in the middle of a trip when I'd already heard people say it to each other at the convention. So then when we were hanging out privately and she said it, I'm like, yeah, isn't that just a term that people are using to relate with each other? And it was so wild because her body language immediately closed up, and she got upset, and she was like, well, no, I don't think so. And then things have progressed to where she's very much trying to prove I'm your arch nemesis. While also just, it's so weirdly subconscious. It's hilarious. Because that's the balance of then when you as a spirit see these things and you bring consciousness to it, people literally get to say that you're projecting, because that's how a lot of this garbage has started, in terms of any the issues that have come out of not only this girl but all the people that this girl's connected to, is how this girl she literally told me that she has a past of being a super narcissistic, hyper manipulative liar, but she's destroyed so many relationships that she's learned how to not do that anymore. And then she literally used that story to lie about me and manipulate people's ideas about me. And it's wild. And it's that's a whole lesson on just projection and perception. And this, any spirits, right? Because she's just an example of what manipulative spirits do, where a spirit is a narcissist. They do manipulate things to work for them, and when they get caught, their ability to not want to change but want to connect with people wanting them to change allows them to continuously lie and manipulate. And that's basically it. Because this girl, she's okay, well, I still want to lie to get my way. I still want to manipulate people to get my way. I still want to project out my imagination and just transform the environment with my fire in ways that serve my individual desires. So even though I've been caught, let me act like I've grown from it. Let me act like I've connected and matured. So that's the process of, let me act like I built some empathy, made water, and then communicated with myself in a way that cultivated a new life, so that I can actually keep using my fire to consume relationships and transform the environment and shine the light that I want to shine, because I want to be perceived like the star I am, type deal. I'm sure this girl has Leo in her chart. I'm actually almost positive. And I wasn't even into astrology at all when I was interacting with her, but just based on all the logical things that she's told me about herself, and the way that she acts, as far as Leo is the ultimate narcissist energy. Leo in general is about all eyes on me. Leo in general is, I am the center of the stage. Everyone's looking at me. Everyone is entertained by me. I'm the most attractive person, and I need to feel like that. So if you like Leos get the most insecure, Leos get the most flunked out when they don't feel attractive. And I mean, everyone does. That's kind of why everyone has these zodiac elements. That's why we can talk about zodiac signs like this. It's just then when you look at your actual chart, which ones are you more in resonance with? Like with my Virgo being in my moon, or my moon being in Virgo, that's where I resonate a lot with hyper analytical details and like constantly analyzing the past to like create a new future and like making all these tiny connections. Like that's how my costumes have like blown up, or just like I've made the costumes that I do and like continuously make my creations. That's how I build simulations, as symmetry. It's all very finely, highly detailed work of making sure all these little things connect. And then of course white supremacist scientists get born into the simulation, where then they create science where they're dissecting all these things that naturally connect because they think they're smart for cutting up what was already working. Let's do surgery, I'm so intelligent. See, like that's that fire, it's that ego. So spirits' desire to be smart makes them destroy the environment. Spirits' desire to be seen makes them destroy the environment or transform their circumstances. Or just, destroy relationships in that case. And that's where, for them, they don't think that they're destroying their relationship at the time. They think that they're building, but that's the essence of a lie. Like, when lies are so unsustainable, you can't actually have a relationship like that. Like, you can't build any relationship on lies, really. It's just not it. It's not it. Then, of course, the balance is knowing that life is a lie. So this is what I've had to learn and reflect upon. This is what we're getting into with right now being Scorpio season. So during this Scorpio season, Scorpio being fixed water. So Leo is fixed fire. Leo being fixed fire, it's about, hey, I have my imagination. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving anywhere. It's going to be right here. And I'm going to keep spreading it, actually, from right here at this point. Scorpio is, I'm going to connect with my imagination. I'm going to connect. And I'm going to connect right here. And I'm going to keep connecting right here to the point where I'm actually going to be immovable as water. So I'm now going to turn into ice as water. And this is where I'm going to be cold. And this is where I'm going to hurt the people around me. This is what Scorpio is. So Scorpio season in general is a lot of that energy. Scorpio as a energy, as a sign, being fixed water, it's like a glacier, right? It's like something that literally sinks the Titanic. That's gnarly. I'm glad I'm talking this out right now. Because this is the thing, Scorpios are wise to know that there are many things that you actually do keep secret. And secret doesn't mean secret. Secret just means silent. And me as a Gemini, I like to share too many things. I talk too much. I see a lot as me being who I am. And my lesson is learning what not to speak on, because I'm only ever to speak on it from my individual perspective. So it's anytime someone says I'm projecting, they're only ever right, because the fact that I'm communicating means that I'm exposing how I feel and how I've connected with myself up to that point. That's what it means to bare yourself to the universe. Literally, I'm baring myself right now. I'm exposing who I am just by making this podcast. So Scorpios know that, like, it's much better to when you're dealing with people's subconscious worlds, because this is the number 8. Scorpio being the number 8, it's all about the vibration and the soul Like the soul is the number 8. The soul has the energy signature of 2, but then the structure of 8. Like that's where the soul is 8, because it's about containing the 2. So when you look at 8, you see 2 circles. One circle could just be like the something circle, the ego circle. The other circle could be the nothing circle or the spirit circle. Really, how I've explained it with spiders is more elemental, better. It's just it correlates. But top circle of the 8 is the fire circle, which is you alone in your imagination. And then the bottom circle of the 8 is the water circle, which is you connecting with your imagination. And that's where the rest of life happens. And that's like the whole of the universe. Because now everything that you're seeing and able to interact with, and anytime you're doing anything, that's you operating from the fire that no one else can see. You're operating from your alone realm so that you can be visible, so that you can carry your fire. Like Mercury, you can carry your fire into the water that you're in. And now you can be seen as a star. And now you can communicate your individuality into the outside and express it for everyone to see. And now everyone can be inspired by who you are because you carried your fire into water. Versus if you just kept your fire out of the water, no one can see you. So the number 8 is the universe. We feel like connecting. We can only connect from being alone. And then of course, the more we connect, the more we get into a space of realizing that we have to go back to being alone, because then we're getting lost in those connections. That's the point of hell. So this is why heaven is individuality, hell is collectivity, and these white supremacists have it completely flipped on everybody, thinking like having everyone think like, oh, okay, I need to get to heaven where I'll just be part of something else. Like that's literally the epitome of hell. They're actually tricking you to go to hell by making you think you need to go to heaven. That's hilarious. Like I've never actually even said it like that. I have not processed it like that, but it's literally, that's what it is. Like they have to trick you to go to hell by calling it heaven. When in reality, am I going to be an individual there? Like these were my questions as a kid. Man, there's so much life as a kid, like asking questions and wondering about Christianity to get up to this point. Just being able to like chop it up. Like, man, this is stupid. Like just seeing where it's coming from and like how people are getting lost in it and everything, and like how it's being weaponized to further make the genocide of my indigenous family profitable for people who claim to be love and light. Because those were the questions. Like, how much individuality am I going to have in heaven? None? This does not sound like heaven. Like, literally, as a kid, I was already thinking, like, bro, like, my heaven would be me coming here on my choice. Like, this is whack. But I'm just forced to believe it because I had to connect with people on their level. So, it's deep down here. That's just a natural balance of life. As individuals, we can't exist without connecting. So that's the point of why it's always in this balance of like, okay, we connect, but we connect just enough so that we can respect each other's individuality, I would hope. And I'm pretty sure that's like subconscious. Like most spirits get that on a subconscious level. Literally. Like when I say that, most people aren't going to disagree. In fact, I don't really think one person in my life would disagree. Because that's where then like everyone has their individual religion. Everyone has their individual ideas of who should be related with, but then I'm only ever going to expose how that is their individual idea of what to connect with, which could only be informed by then another individual and a bigger connection because they did not create the language that they're speaking right now. Because literally, it's hilarious. Like, even when I've been... Okay, so here's the lessons on impermanence. This is how I can segue. My TikTok got deleted. My TikTok got banned. And it's quite a shame. Right when I was, like, blowing up. Like, I was stuck at 3,000 for a while, literally within 2 weeks, because I started fasting. So I just got off of fasting for 19 days straight. Just got done fasting, no food, only water, for 19 days here in October. And I was posting about it on my TikTok. And I started posting about it around day 11, and I started blowing up. And at 17.5, my TikTok has been banned, and I cannot get Symmetry back. And I'm trying not to be devastated. And I've already like just processed. I'm like, man, what? Like, wow. So much time, like so many videos, so much typing, so much commenting, so much connecting and stuff. Oh my God. And it's just like, is this what trees feel like when they get uprooted and like turned into something by someone who doesn't care about them? Because now like this app just has all my information and all my stuff, and like it's just attached from me. I can't use it, but they can. And then it's like, well, they don't even care to use it. And it's like, well, that's even worse. That's literally you just going around destroying people's structures just because you want to. But the thing is, yeah, supposedly I got banned because fasting is dangerous. Also, I had vapes in my videos. But one, they're very legal here in California. And two, I wasn't even like vaping in them, and they were like blowing up and old. So it's like they basically just went and took down my account retroactively for a bunch of old videos. That like for videos from like basically how it happened was once I started posting in my fast, like 11 days, 12 days, 13 days, 14 days. I'm just like talking about like all the benefits of fasting, the health benefits. One video just like went up, like blew up and got like 52.7 thousand, and I never had a video get that many. Like most of my videos literally get a couple hundred views, like 200, 300. And a few of my fasting videos have gotten like a couple thousand views. So, because my account started as a fasting account, the Symmetry TikTok account started with me fasting, because I wasn't nearly this spiritual or like able to like take my mind from my body and like conceive everything and like communicate them in these ways. So it was through fasting that science became more spiritual, and that reflects in my social media in general. Like I wasn't spiritual really like this until I started fasting. So, you know, of course, like the motivation to get into the fasting was all subconscious, because I already knew what I came here to do. The TikTok for Symmetry started as fasting and then slowly evolved, turned into spirituality. And spirituality videos aren't like nearly as big as like people wanting to be healthy. So my account wasn't like going anywhere too far, too fast, and it was like fine, whatever. But of course, like once I started fasting, I posted like, yo, I'm fasting, like fasting cures cancer like this, like fasting like heals cells like this, fasting cleans the body like this, fasting helps you communicate better like this. The videos started blowing up, and people were like sharing them. Like you get like 300 shares, like so many comments, all these people talking about like how much they fasted, all these questions about fasting. People are like visiting the website. I'm like, bro, yeah, lit. Because I'm in a situation where white supremacy gets to steal my life from me, because I just graduated from college. So I have like student loans and stuff. So I'm in a situation where I'm forced to serve a system that has only consumed everything from me. And I know that. And it makes it so frustrating then when I'm forced to go through all these loopholes and forced to limit my ability to communicate through these apps and through these smaller systems that just get to take everything away from me. While they're taking everything away from me, all underneath me having to be forced to live the idea that I must serve them And this is like the ultimate hell. Like, I'm in the ultimate hell right now with my awareness. Like, I get why you have to be asleep in hell. You're woke in heaven, you're asleep in hell. Because when you're woke in hell, you kill yourself. All right? Like, straight up, this shit's wild. Like, you're gonna steal my creations, use my caduceus to create health issues inside of my body, take land from my ancestors, force me to waste my time sitting all day, every day in a whack-ass school system just so that you can put me in debt further to learn a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with anything, really. Just way more debt so I could get a piece of paper to then be worthy enough to be a slave for you for not anywhere close to the amount that would allow me to pay off my college debt in a timely manner, let alone be able to live in the land that you've stolen, that you're constantly stealing from my indigenous ancestors. All while making me worship you for poisoning me with garbage ass food and poisoning me with garbage ass cars and poisoning my mind with garbage ass media. Again, while stealing my caduceus, while stealing my spiritual creations so that you can tell me that I'm not a spirit. This is the ultimate hell. I cannot express my unbridled rage. It is amazing how well I keep myself contained, and I will continuously keep myself more and more contained throughout life. I get it. Like, I can't be anything but I feel so much just fire in that case. Passion, anger, Mars energy about all of this. And I've created the situation where I am I'm the lowest vibration possible. Like, I'm feeling all the emotions. I can feel everything that people feel in this world. Like, that's the point of all of us being connected. That's the point of all of us riding one 8, one wave, one vibration. We're all in one V. You are in a V, you are in a vibration. We are all trapped in a 22-4 box. We're all boxed in this simulation together, riding a wave. That's what it means to be trapped in a vibe. That's here we are. That's what we're doing in a simulation. That's why we can relate. This is why I can feel basically everything. Like, I can see basically everything. Like, I as a spirit have gone through so much that I know what's up when I'm seeing things. I've seen the patterns, and I know that I have way more to learn. So it's not me ever believing that I know what's up. I can only ever know where I'm coming from. But then that's just where it's the spidey sense thing. You feel me? That's the nuance of symmetry, actually. Like, that is the air. That's where the air comes in. Like, you can't just actually know anything except yourself. Like, you can't know what anyone else is thinking or feeling but yourself. You can project based on all the other experiences that you've had and get really good at that. And you get really good at that based on you actually perceiving other people's projections. And that's what I do. Like, so I don't project, but of course I have to project just enough to be able to perceive other people's projections. This is how I build Mercury. This is how I build my structures. That's what Virgo is, really. Like, as I'm like bringing words to that energy, if I'm going to like anchor that to Virgo, that's what Virgo is. It's about projecting just enough to perceive other people's projections so that you can build something that is constantly supporting how others change. And like, that's like my best way of serving the universe. That's the point of me building Mercury. Like, when I'm perceiving and seeing how other people change, I'm constantly working to like build structures that support that. Because the fact is, we're all changing in our own space, And this is where the whole universe is being created from. Us connecting first internally, then externally. From changing in our own space. Right? And here's the English language. How do we make money off of that change? There's a girl at this artist residency in Brazil who, she was cool. One of her big missions was figuring out why, or if she could speak about time in the English language without using money terms. And 3 weeks, it was so wild. Yo, it was literally, the third day was already like super trippy, and it didn't help that it was November 11th, 2011, and I felt the need to do 11 tabs of acid in Brazil. And I talked to this girl like 5 hours into my trip, and we were not on the same vibe. Holy shit. And it was hilarious because she was like flirting with me and stuff before, as far as like coming up to me and like rubbing me quite a bit and calling me like cutesy names like Chasey Wasey and Thanks Babe, and like winking at me. And I mainly took it as like, okay, this girl is like literally here to play. Like, she's for fun residency. Like, I want, like, how much Sagittarius does she have in her chart type deal. Because she's definitely just like wants to like have those like a playful flirty vibe or whatever. And it was hilarious because I shut all that down. Just by being too like on one in a trip. And it was when I came up the stairs from my room, and she was like cutting vegetables in the kitchen, and like when I like walked by her, she was like, oh, bom dia, something like that. And that's basically like, it's good morning in Portuguese, I'm pretty sure. And the conversation, I'm not even going to get into the details. The conversation basically spiraled into her telling me that if I was going to be a man of the people, I had to be able to speak Portuguese. And I was like, right, absolutely. It's just that I already have so many words in my head. Like, you know, having more would be a lot. Because I'm literally like tripping on 11 tabs of acid. Just like translating everything and like listening to like all the birds and bugs on the island just be themselves. All the bee energy connecting, right? Second letter of the alphabet. So I'm experiencing that right now. So like like that was what I said. And of course, to a non-tripping person, to someone who doesn't care to understand, like that literally sounds like the most arrogant shit, right? Like that literally sounds like, oh, you don't care about speaking the same language as others. And of course, she said a phrase that had to start with 2 C letters. She's like, it's just CC. It's just common courtesy. And she looked shocked. She looked like frightened. She was so offended at me. And I'm like, what? Oh, bro, okay. Yeah, all right. I see how this looks. That's hilarious. Fine. So it's just like, as a Taurus sun, my earth sign is a Scorpio. There's not much about earth signs on the internet, but I'm learning a lot about myself this Scorpio season, and just like how everywhere I am, yet nowhere at the same time. And it's like just truly that weird balance as a spirit of you communicating something from nothing, but then that's going to be informed by the pattern, like the vibrational resonance, literally the vibrational frequency, your soul, of what you've created before and how you've been operating. It's pretty wild. And that's the point of a soul. That's the point of then, when you know that as a spirit you communicate forever, why not build something out of it? You know, like here I am. That's the point of Mercury being called away into any simulation to do anything. It's all about me building synchronistically. There's this new show that I'm gonna have to do for predictive programming, and it's like literally It's called Inside Job, right? It's a cartoon where it's basically just all about like all the conspiracies, just all the conspiracies. Like, it's so silly. This cartoon that's out now, like, it's literally just 10 episodes of, it's like Rick and Morty type cartoon where all the jokes, the whole premise is that everyone knows that the US government is being ran by a shadow government that uses white supremacist hyper metallic technology to spread genocide and make money off of slavery. And they do sacrificial rituals in order to do so. They consume aliens in order to do so, right? Like, they do all the freaky stuff that we can even talk about in order to spread genocide. And that's their main focus. This show, Inside Job, is all about making that as relatable as possible. Like, we're really here in 2021 where a show can literally be released like that now. It's remarkable. This is gnarly. It's truly gnarly watching that show. So there's just naturally, like, when spirits are connecting in general, the fact is communication is going to have to come out of that connection. And that communication is only ever going to build a structure that then supports how those spirits connect and communicate further. So this is the point of you as a spirit realizing that you are how you communicate in that way. That's basically like you, that's how, I mean, see, I'm bearing myself, right? This is the point. You're coming here for my projections. I'm the Trip C, the Trippy Trip C psychedelic psychopomp, symmetry, thrice great, Hermes, Trismegistus, because I triple my C to create in infinitely awesome ways. That's like, it's as simple as that. 3 times 3. Triple the C, become a 9-dimensional being. Realize that you are creating life. And now you can create heaven right now, right now, right now. And then that's just constant 10 energy. Constant connecting your ego with your space, and knowing that your ego, your imagination, is supported by your space, so you can always express more of your imagination. And that's the whole idea of heaven. That's why heaven is the letter J in the alphabet, because Jesus is supposed to be the superhero that can express his imagination in any space. And we're all that. Just by being alive, by beating your heart, you're expressing your imagination in this space. The whole point of everything that I'm sharing with Hermeticism and Simicism, right, is us knowing that our imaginations are infinitely unrelatable. So you can never share all of your imagination. It's impossible. You're just not going to do that. You can't. That's fire, right? Like, this is why white supremacy is causing climate change. It's why I'm called here, because this shadow government, as we see with this show Inside Job and so many other whack things, man, this stuff's wild. We see that their desire to express their imagination is what is the pure driving force behind rationalizing why money gets to enslave indigenous peoples and steal their lands and consume everything that we've created. So Scorpio, dealing with the number 8. 8 is about the soul. Numerically, 8 is about home. 10 is about heaven. 8 is about home. 4 is about the structures and the thoughts that support the home or support your vibration, right? So when you know that you as a spirit are expressing yourself forever, like if you're ever going to do anything, that's you communicating your expression from nothing into something, then it's only ever practical and stable to make that matter and build something out of it, build a simulation out of it. And that's going to be the way that you get to create the circumstances where you're connecting with other spirits who resonate with your vibration. And then this is the whole point of hermetically being in touch with yourself and being in resonance with yourself in a way that allows you to build things harmoniously and happily and healthily. Because if you're not in a good, happy, or harmonious vibration inside of yourself, then it's going to be harder to build things. So this is the dance of what just all spirits have to go through. Right? Like more than enough TV shows and movies and books about artists or creatives and their journey of connecting with themselves so that they can express an idea into the world. And then it's like an hour and a half of making that relatable or some shit, right? So like, this is what it is forever. Like, we're always building something to support our space. And then whatever we build is only ever going to transform based on how the way we connect with ourselves transforms. And the way we connect with ourselves is always transforming, because the fact is, you have not always been in a body. And furthermore, your body has not always looked like this. Right? Your body changes every day, actually. And your mind changes every day, actually. Right? But this language wouldn't matter if you weren't building upon that change in a stable way. So yeah, your emotions change, but these words anchor your emotions. Why? So you can connect. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So now, even though we all have our own emotions about life and our own emotions about words and our own connections and internal realms, the only way then that we can bring these twos to each other is to project them into the same force, project them into the same structure. 2 + 4 = 6 type deal. So now when we're all paying attention to the same word, we can all have sex together. We can all create life together. We can all have 6 together. Because now we feel like we're in literally it's just that 2 + 4. We feel like we can connect. We feel like we can actually build a structure, basically, because we're able to consistently use these words to show each other who we are. Right? Like, that's your name. First off. So boom, we had to use letters, like, right? Like, we had to get into the alphabet of whatever culture we're in as a spirit to then get familiar with these letters in our soul and be able to make a name that resonates with us. That's why, as Hermes Trismegistus, as the thrice great symmetry, I triple my C to be Chase Clarence Callaway, the caduceus from Mercury, to come teach Hermeticism, pretty please, 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 please. And then I'm like, okay. And click, click, schedule me in, fly out, just like right in that body, like, all right, so I'll be alive from this time to this time. Just make sure my life is a synchronicity. Like, that's what it always is, all right? Because that's the point. Like, I'm stepping out of my space to show you that you're the synchronicity. So you are listening to this synchronistically. For you are the synchronicity. As we are all drinking some synchronicity, I'm about to blaze some synchronicity. Even though I'm trapped in hell, I feel synchronicity free. Because I know I'm here to help you. That's the whole point. And you help me. And we all help each other. I don't know how you help me, but I know you do, just by creating the universe. Really, that's how. When I go alone, when I am alone in my space, I like to be able to step out into my collective space of Mercury, because I have many spaces, I have many realms. I'm constantly building worlds. Best believe that. Like, my spirit is just constantly building worlds for other spirits to connect in. This is why it naturally happens the way that, like, spirits want to colonize the worlds that my indigenous family builds. So this is kind of nothing for us. You feel me? This like, is so trippy. But it's kind of nothing for us. Actually though, like, it's everything, because we are invested in what we build, but it's the balance of we're constantly building something better and new though. So I guess, like, this is the lesson of impermanence and, like, my TikTok getting deleted. Because it's a shame that all that work is gone. So much time, so much life. Like I have to like now build it up again. But it's also kind of synchronistic just based on there's this app called Clapper. So when I had my symmetry TikTok, I made a new TikTok for the Always Ascending Academy section, because like I'm symmetry, but then of course when I'm teaching, like that has to be a different TikTok, and now I'm just forced to use that one. So that one's literally Tahuti Trismegistus, and it's interesting because it's kind of like this is one way that Scorpio season has forced me to step more into my bag of being who I am, and is super synchronistic to sort of like explain then like the whole point of symmetry. And I didn't even plan out the letters like this, but the letters are literally CY, my tree is planted here. So symmetry is literally CY, my tree is planted here, so I can connect with you. Boom. So I can create an atmosphere that allows everyone to breathe easily. We're literally, I'm so called away to this space in a synchronistically needed way that people literally think it's healthier not to breathe, because white supremacists want to make money by injecting them with heavy metals. And this is an idea that's gripping the world right now. Whereas I've been here fasting for years. The fact that my TikTok got deleted from me getting to 17.5 thousand in like 2 weeks for sharing fasting and everyone like talking about health and stuff only makes me stronger. Because it was also the fact of it wasn't entirely the fasting. It was partially, it was like they were telling me that I was endangering minors. So I have to change my language, basically. The way that I was talking about fasting as symmetry is not how I'm going to be talking about fasting as Tahuti Trismegistus. So hopefully my Tahuti Trismegistus TikTok will be good, because I'm going to be much more contained. Again, it was like the vape thing too, but like those videos blew up without the vape. Or no, those videos blew up with the vape and were fine. And like a week went by and now I'm posting more, and then like they just started giving me community guidelines violations and then just blocked me. And now I don't have my symmetry name anymore. So it's like the universe and myself, because I'm the universe. So it's always that balance. This is the point of Scorpio season, the number 8. Like it's you dancing with the universe, your soul and the universe. And the universal soul is created by all the souls outside of you. So it's like the universe has put me in a situation where I'm now TT on TT. I'm Tahuti Trismegistus on TikTok. Follow TT on TT. And I am Symmetry on Clapper. I'm C on C. Or CT on CL. Or CP. CL on CP. Symmetry on Clapper. C on Law. CT on CP. Whatever. C on C. CT on CP. TT on TT. Regardless, it is Symmetry on Clapper. It is Tahuti Trismegistus on TikTok. Clapper is supposedly an app where like the people who get blocked from TikTok go, lol. So that's like the whole kind of point, is like this weird censorship thing. And it's funny because I'm just now getting to the main point of this episode that I like wanted to say. Everything else was leading up to it. So I'm glad we got this 1 hour and 13 minutes out of the way. That's so funny. The lesson of impermanence, and how you as a spirit are not what you build, and you are not what you believe in. You are not what you feel like. You're not even the feeling yourself. Like you as a spirit are nothing, absolutely nothing. This is how you can change your awareness and shift, do anything, be infinite, be aware of anything, whatever. So when you as a spirit have to anchor your awareness into a body, that then means that you're going to build up a mind, because that mind is what's going to make the body matter. The only way you could anchor your awareness to a body is to use a mind that allows that body to matter. So this is why all the muscles in your body react to your mind, contract and expand, just like your mind. So this lesson of impermanence, of just like all the time, all the weight, all the energy that I put into that TikTok, and even just fasting, and not gonna lie, like on some Scorpio shit, like I am in a position where I'm supposed to be building a business. I'm supposed to be able to make a living. I'm supposed to be able to support myself in land that's being stolen from me, actively stolen. Like I say, like not like it's fully gone yet, because there's still more being stolen. So sometimes I'm like, I go back and forth between it is still being stolen, because it is, but like so much of it has been stolen that it's already stolen. So but the moment we believe it's all gone, then that is an idea that we're not manifesting here. That's not life. Like that's the reverse psychology. The moment you believe the earth is fucked type shit, now it's fucked. The moment you believe it's too late to reverse climate change, now it is, because you're creating that idea right now. It's not too late, it's never too late. Damn. What is that song? Where'd that come from, bro? It was like I forget that song, but then it's like, it's not too late, it's never too late. Yeah, that was hilarious. Growing up listening to that radio station was The Sound. Shout out The Sound. Oh my gosh, so much alternative rock. I've had a great time in this life, like for real. It has been like a whole synchronicity. It has been a whole wave. It has been a whole ride. It has been a whole vibe. Like truly every simulation, like this is where life is truly about planning for the next, you know? Like this is kind of what we're talking about here, as far as when things are impermanent. This gets us to the number 8 energy. Like the universe is constantly transforming energy. So it's like things are impermanent, but nothing is impermanent. And then that's just where you can make things permanent with your impermanence. It's just about what is consistently you. Like when you are a spirit and you step out of your space to do your thing, what is consistently you? What vibration? What feeling? What soulful resonance do you naturally ride when you express yourself? This is the point of intuition, and like what people have to learn in this lifetime, as far as learning how to listen to themselves and learn how to level up from that. Listen to the environment. That was my whole thing at the artist residency, where I had to really get way better at listening. And it was like, I'm already so good at listening, so actually I was probably being hyper indulgent in listening, which is still lit. I actually need to get better at talking. So that's what it was. Because no, I was listening more like everywhere all the time. That was the point of like, especially getting psychedelic. It was like overwhelming, the things I was hearing. But it's like, it's literally about actually speaking. I don't know. I guess I'm saying listening because I'm literally thinking about what is supposed to come from listening, which is the proper speaking. Like just actually building properly. So damn. These are things that only I can teach myself. This shit's so weird. Like, I don't have a dad. This is and this is like where things get like super deep. This Scorpio time was so deep. I am gonna share these things, but I'm just not gonna share like all like the super deep stuff, of course. But like even this is like super duper deep, because that's the 8, infinitely deep. Like, how deep can infinity go? Like, how far does one's emotions reach? You know, like, it's wild. Like, that's why water is just infinitely chaotic. And it's all about that vibration. Because so it seems that not having a dad growing up is a reflection of a bigger story in my life as Hermes. And in general, the idea of like being abandoned, or the idea of like connecting with someone who doesn't really want to connect with you, and the idea of putting all your energy, or like, yeah, just putting energy into connecting with someone who does not want to connect with you in the same way is whack. And I guess like that's like basically what leads to abandonment. Like when one's thinking about a son growing up and constantly putting energy into a connection where the father is acting like he wants to connect with you, but then never shows it. Damn. Cause look, family, like I've been like I've literally like been crying like the past few days out of nowhere, just cause like things in like the environment and like relationships have like triggered me. So this is truly like the point of life not happening alone. Like this is why it's like astrology is important, and everyone's emotions are then important. The soul is important. The vibration is important. The universe is one big vibration. We're all connected by our feeling. Like this whole podcast is coming from my feeling right now. This tree is growing from my feeling, from my water, from me connecting in these specific ways because of my memories and experiences that you can't see. Only I can see them as a spirit, but because I would like to build something out of them in a way that makes it stable and practical for other spirits to connect upon, here I am, using words that are relatable and thus real eatable, real aidable, a real 8 table, something we can infinitely build upon because it's already been so real. We've already agreed upon what these words mean. We've already agreed upon the subconscious connections to the ways that all these letters are arranged. So now Hermes is here. And I get to play. I get to play, nigga. Comedy. I really do. I get to be here. I get to say whatever the fuck I want. Because this shit simultaneously means nothing and everything to me. And thus it's just all about showing you that you can also be nothing and thus be anything you want to be from there. And now no word has power over you. And then that's where we have empathy, of course. Like I, as Symmetry, don't like being called the N-word. That being said, it has no power over me. What? But emotionally, I'll get triggered based on my memories. Like I've almost been killed by men saying that word. And I've had to destroy the faces. That shit was gnarly. That shit was gnarly. That fight was gnarly. I'm not even going to get into that right now. So, this is the 8. We are all as spirits writing our own old gold souls. Our owned gold souls. Goldfish. Goldfish in a bowl. That's the soul right there. Goldfish in a bowl. You literally observing yourself inside of your emotions. You can never get out of your emotions. You can just literally create air that allows you to travel outside of your emotions, which is only ever going to be powered by your emotions though. So that's the point of communication. And then we can build structures that allow us to look like we're not emotional. But guess what? You only built that structure because you felt like it, nigga. And that structure is only going to remind you that you are a nigga, that you are an inward, that you have to go inward. Here I am with the impermanence. Here's the full circle. Because I was blowing up on TikTok, but it was a lesson of impermanence. It was a lesson of I was not communicating in intelligently enough ways that followed the community guidelines of TikTok. So I destroyed all of my progress. I destroyed all that stuff. That being said, Infinite 8 energy wise, I made my impact on all the people I was supposed to impact. I mean, and that's actually a fact. Like, if anything, I'm actually going to impact perhaps a little more people based on recreating this TikTok and making it better now, because I can structure it not as Chase being symmetry, but as Hermes being Tahuti Trismegistus. Because one is physical, the other is spiritual. The other is me in my scientific mode. But this is like the point. Like, I did all this fasting. I've transformed. Like, it's about seeing that people really care about fasting, but then also communicate differently, Chase. Triple your C differently. So I just have to change the way I'm communicating about fasting, and Tahuti Trismegistus will be rocking on TikTok. So that's where right now I'm like in this whole just, man, emotional state of like having to build it up. Just build everything up again, upload everything again. But now it's like, yeah, doing it the second time, it is structured, it's better. And 2 is 8 energy. And it's funny because the apartment I'm in is literally number 208. So it's been a lot of synchronistic symbols, signs, sigils. Everything means something. Truly, I'm serious. I'm so serious. Or else, like, it wouldn't be created and it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't, like, be used as an expression for a spirit. It's just like, what does it mean to who and why? Like, that TikTok, of course, meant for me right now money. Like, literally, because in this reality, money's everything. Like, literally, everything's money. Like, money shows that you made your communication matter. Again, bringing it back then to that girl from the artist residency in Brazil who could not figure out over her whole 3 weeks how to speak about time without using terms that are also used for money. And that's what we see in Dissect the Dialect. I wish I had Dissect the Dialect back then. Oh well. She'll see this when she sees it. That's the point of Dissect the Dialect. Because L, being 12, shows that we use light to create the clock that allows us to connect. So everything has its time, right? That's what time is. Time is us creating life with light. And then we make time matter by making money off of it. And then that's where we judge the clock. And that's us at the 13 energy. That's us looking at life, looking at everything, communicating. And then we're creating our time. Now we're creating our money. We're making money. We're making matter out of our light. Right? So then that brings us back to the difference between poor people, rich people. Poor people, they have their light, they're communicating it, but they're not doing it consistently or consecutively enough to create matter out of it and make it a structure that means something. And that's the difference then, where rich people are like, okay, well, I'm gonna make sure I communicate this light and make it heavy. so that other people can stand on it, and then they believe in it with their water, so I'll make it earth, and now we're all creating life, and then they can believe in it with their imagination, and like I'll make money, and now I'm making metal, and now I'm building a metal mentality. And then that's how spirits elementally refine their minds here. That is the significance of metal, after all. Grow gold. So, I'm not pressed. It's like very disappointing, and it's whack, and it's heavy, and it hurts. But it's also like completely freeing. And like the whole point is that it's a transformation and like a renewal and a rebirth. And as a spirit, you are water before your earth. Like that's the point of your soul existing before your body. Your body can only ever matter because it's being vibrated by your soul, because you're moving it with your water, you're moving it with your feeling. So just seems like it's part of whatever, some kind of larger plan. Oh no, like that's the point of the number 8. And just like when you're stepping outside of your space, subconsciously connecting with others, you aren't in control of anyone but yourself. So then you kind of have to be in control of how you create the structure that contains your own feelings. Because your feelings you low-key can't control, but you're supposed to control your own feelings. Because you can barely control your own feelings. You're definitely not in control of anyone else's feelings. Like people are constantly trying to be in control of other people's feelings, white supremacy, just because they can't get control of their own feelings. So the lesson of impermanence is strong, especially because like I can't get that time back. And that's what really does suck, is wasting time. Having to restart everything over when you've already been putting in the time, and you're in a situation where the only thing that would get you more time is money, but you were already using the little time that you had to make money, is whack. But again, the point is that the universe wants it in a way that I learned my lesson of communication. I learned that symmetry is going to be on Clapper because Clapper is uncensored, and symmetry can go way harder. And then Tahuti Trismegistus will teach on TikTok. I'll communicate on Clapper, and I'll teach on TikTok. Because my natural communication seems to be too extreme. I even hold myself back on this podcast. Like 15%. 15 to 20%. Sometimes 25. Because I do have to keep things very physical. That's the point of making this relatable, so that as many people can build upon it as possible. So Scorpio season is all about the deep, dark depths of your soul. And I have definitely been processing some deep traumas through fasting especially. And I'm just like alone. This shit's weird. Like, it's just like 19 days of straight fasting alone. And like, that's what made the TikTok getting deleted hurt so much too. Was like the energy of like putting me fasting into it, and then like getting just thousands of comments of like people supporting and talking about fasting and like all the ways that they healed their bodies, and like just all of us talking about getting healthier. And like having that taken from me and not being able to use my symmetry name is a shame. I'm not super pressed, but it is a shame. That's again the 8. Like literally just straddling both sides. Like, well, it's infinitely light, but then like too light would be not talking about it and thus not processing it, not dealing with it, not connecting with it, not lifting it and getting like stronger from it. But of course, too heavy means that you're too far in the past, and thus you're not even moving because you have no frequency. right? See how like simple it is just vibrationally? Like 2 free, you didn't learn anything, and you'll very well create the same mistake twice. So that's like if you created wings, flew too close to the sun, and then fell into the ocean, but you survived, and then you made some new wings and then flew too close to the sun, and then fell into the ocean and then survived, and then made some wings, flew too close to the sun, fell into the ocean, survived, made some wings, flew too close to the sun, fell into the ocean. This time you landed wrong, now you're dead. Versus just making some wings and not flying too close to the sun next time. So Tahuti Trismegistus won't be flying too close to the sun. He will not be expressing too much individuality, because that's what symmetry is. Tahuti Trismegistus is me teaching my natural hermeticism and symmetricism, spirituality. Symmetry is chase in physical reality, addressing things in physical reality, uncensored. So we'll see how Clapper goes with that. Hopefully this app is cool. I mean, right now it's fine. It just like, it's like a way worse version of TikTok. That's all I can say for it right now, basically. The universe just wants me to get my content and like just put content on there in general. So I get it. Cool. Like, I like the name. I like that it starts with a C. I like the ideas that it's supposed to be 17 and up. So the point is, like, you can just do quote unquote whatever that is actually legal, right? So like, I can talk about fasting in the way that I want to. I can talk about psychedelics in the way that I want to. I can smoke, I can vape, I can communicate about sensitive objects and sensitive topics in a way that I can't on TikTok. TikTok is like for children. If it's not appropriate for a child, like if it's like for a 3-year-old or something, like, then it's not going on TikTok. That's what Clapper's for. And YouTube and anywhere else. But, you know, whatever. Just, this TikTok debacle was a whole lesson. Because I put so much weight, so much time into building up that whole account, just for it to be gone. And it's just 8. Simultaneously, I can be free to just like release everything again in like a better way and build, but also I can be heavy and wait in the past and get sadder and like upset about what happened. Yeah, so Scorpio season's intense because it's just like this whole situation brought out a whole thing of like Hermes and Zeus, and like just a whole wild subconscious like revisiting and reprocessing of like the relationship Hermes and Zeus had and how that informs the relationship I have just with myself in this lifetime. And Hermes like never being good enough for Zeus. Like just like that standard father shit. And it's funny because like once I was processing this, I went and watched the show Inside Job, and naturally like there's an episode where it has the main characters. The main characters are a daughter and a father. It has them process, of course, their relationship, because naturally the father is being hyper intelligent and the daughter's like also super intelligent, because again, like they work for the shadow government. So they're like, they're the people who control CIA operatives type people, right? So these people, and when I say hyper intelligent, I guess I literally mean like having intel, knowing how to use light to communicate. Yeah, basically that. so intelligent in figuring things out, I guess. Seeing things connecting, sure. So when they're processing their relationship, I just had a brain fart, that's hilarious. There's an episode of them processing their relationship, but in general, I'm just talking about, of course, like what had to lead up to that. What had to lead up to that is that the father is not giving of affection. Like literally, the father is so not giving of affection, he creates a robot to hug the daughter. So that's like literally a whole thing just throughout the whole show that they have to process, is how she has a robot bear that hugs her instead of him because he's so much not around. And it's just funny. Like, this is just then, universal thing as far as like how the way that we are raised is only going to inform the way that we raise our future relationships and where we're going moving forward. And this is the point of spirits can change. And Scorpio season is about showing that you can change. When you just think about the vibration, and the vibration being, I'm going to say physical, because the point is that it's not physical. It is the physical manifestation of how anything can change, because everything comes out of the vibration. We know this with Thoth. Everything is vibrational. So everything is changing, again, based on how we feel like connecting. And we are experiencing ourselves in so many ways. It's just like so infinite and wild. So all that right there, our vibration is everything. Our feeling is everything. Our soul is everything. Because the only reason anything matters to you is because you connected with yourself enough to be able to connect with that, right? Like, you can't even connect with my words right now if you did not connect with yourself to be able to connect with them. You wouldn't be able to connect with me if you did not connect with yourself to be able to connect with what I'm doing. So it's always internal and then external, because the whole point is that your external is you learning about who you are in the internal, and the internal is what your spirit is creating to express itself. This is where the soul is the expression of anything is possible, because it's the spirit actually connecting with its imagination. The imagination is one thing, an idea is one thing, but the moment you connect with it, now it's possible. It just takes you though. It does take you as the space creating this imagination. Again, poor people versus rich people. The poor person not connecting with their imagination in a way that makes sense. So they just have it. They just have the imagination. They hold on to it in their space, but no one can see it, so thus it's not valuable. Versus the rich person who connects with their imagination, and thus that water into fire naturally creates the airy mind communicator that stabilizes into the structures which actually create the imagination and make it real. That's practical alchemy. So, lessons on impermanence. I'm your boy, Tahuti, Hermes, Trismegistus. This has been Synchronicity. I love you very much. I will get through this Scorpio season because it's awesome. Like, it's been a whole thing. I have learned a lot. It's just very heavy. The weight of the 8 and the stings. Man, so many stings, so many losses and lessons of time. Literally just all 8 energy. If there's any just huge shape in front of my eyes, it's 8. So, peace out, gang.